dad start to like Korn, that's when we become not cool.
Rock and roll is attitudes. It's all the things that your parents told you don't do, you can do. Get high in school, get the middle class, this middle age. Eat this.
Green Day's Billy Joe Armstrong once advised an audience, "When you go home, I want you to eat your parents."
I'm not allowed to listen to him when she's home, but, you know, I don't care about mom.
They hate it, but I still go. I don't give a what they say.
This is rock and roll. Parents always hate rock and roll. It's in custom. If parents like rock and roll, it must suck. Just keep this in mind. They're playing our CDs when you're not home. They're playing my tapes in your own car. And I'm influencing your children. Just don't push your luck.
At a Doors concert in Washington, D.C., Jim Morrison's mother, by all accounts a good and decent woman, came to see her son perform. His only acknowledgement was to stare at her as he sang the infamous words to the song, "The End, Mother, I want to blank you." He never attempted to see or talk to his parents again, and usually referred to them as being dead. As Perry Farrell said when asked by Rolling Stone for his secret to happiness, "Move as far away from your parents as you can, because I feel like I have no parents. I do what makes sense in my head." Number 2, rebellion is inane, hypocritical, and doesn't work.
Not only is this dishonor your parents attitude among the worst types of sin, it ultimately violates the one law of God that goes so deep into the human conscience that almost nobody will deny it philosophically. That is, the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Isn't it interesting how the rock and roll, do-your-own-thing lifestyle goes out the window when suddenly it's the rock star who's the parent? Madonna, for example, became a star largely through the medium of television and music videos, getting rich selling Sex and Rebellion to other people's children. Now she has 2 of her own. And guess what's one of the big rules that governs her household? You've got it.
She can't watch TV, and
She can't watch TV?
No.
This irony became even more painfully obvious in a feature Rolling Stone did on Ozzy Osbourne. The godfather of hardcore rock and roll rebellion was affectionately seen as a man reduced to trembling like a frightened chihuahua, taking Zoloft and seeing a therapist once or twice a day, plus afternoon AA meetings, just to fight off the demons of addiction. So much for rebellion as a lifestyle choice. And yet, perhaps it is his relationship with his children that is the most tragic and telling. Glaring down at his brood, Rolling Stone reported, he opens his mouth and says, "If you don't shut up, I'll... He goes silent. His kids look up at him. Well, yes, what will you do? And they start snickering and giggling. For indeed, what dad-like words can he say to them? What is he, Ozzy Osbourne, legendary drug-addled Prince of Darkness, the very founder of parent-freaking-out heavy metal music, going to do? Ozzy blinks a few times. Then, in a small voice, he says, "Well, try to be quiet, will you?" To the alert observer, these ironies can reach the height of absurdity. We see Everclear at Woodstock chanting the great rock and roll mantra.
All right, we got one rule. There are no f***ing rules. Have a good time.
And then just moments later, ordering people...
Okay, you guys got to back up now. Everybody back up. Back up! I think I'll have you repeat it after me and get us all feeling good in here. So follow me, friends. We don't give a shit!
We have bands like Metallica embracing the darkness of nihilism and moral relativism. And making light of every kind of sin imaginable, including, ironically, shoplifting. And then getting worked up about people swapping their songs on Napster without paying them royalties.
You know what? Maybe I wouldn't have to whore myself out if you kids didn't steal my music. Hey, Metallica, so what?
We have MTV making light of both violence and rebellion against adults in one of their network bumpers, and then broadcasting a PSA against violence. Violence, it should be noted, that featured a person being beaten with a club. We have bands like Rage Against the Machine getting their audience to do what they tell them to do by chanting, even more surreal is their hardcore advocacy of Marxist socialism, all the while getting rich and enjoying the unparalleled liberties of the very free market economy they condemn. Like other rock artists from time to time, they raise some valid issues, particularly their condemnation of the way our two-party system has been co-opted by big money, special interests, and mushy middle politicians. But what is their alternative? To scream, F you, to advocate unbiblical economic systems that lead to poverty and the loss of freedom everywhere it's been tried? To smash TVs and squat atop a stage prop? What the world needs is a generation that can spread the light, not whine and curse the darkness. And finally, there's the absurdity of an industry that has gotten rich promoting sins that tear at the fabric of society, and then turns around and occasionally tries to raise both money and awareness in order to help fix the very problems that the immorality associated with the music helped create in the first place. R. Kelly, for example, has gotten rich singing about and promoting promiscuity, but was then lauded as a hero when he wrote a song to help fight, get this now, a largely promiscuity-based disease. And then there's Janet Jackson, an artist who's often honored as one of the good guys. Her involvement with Colin Powell's America's Promise Foundation was front and center during her Velvet Rope tour, with some of the proceeds going to help its efforts on behalf of the less fortunate.
Help become a mentor for a child. Help keep our kids off the street because they really do need us. Please.
But hold on. The facts are in. One of the greatest causes of poverty, poor self-esteem, and disease, the very problems the foundation is attempting to address, is sexual promiscuity and its inevitable byproducts. And what are Jackson's personal life, her music, the concert, and even the concert title filled with? Sexual innuendo, partial nudity, references to genital piercings, sex outside of marriage, bondage themes, etc. This level of cognitive dissonance shot through the roof during the production of her music video, If. Close to 80 pregnant 13 to 17-year-olds, or teens who'd recently had babies, were invited down by Jackson. And the video they saw made? You got it. A veritable training film for lust-driven sexuality. And deep down, Miss Jackson knew it. The article continued. There was one individual, though, who was discouraged from dropping by. Catherine Jackson, her mom. The one person that kept running through my head while I was writing these songs was my mother, Jack